how's everybody doing? Welcome back. If it's your first time watching any of these, go back and watch the first two. It's not going to make a lot of sense if you ain't watched the first two. I'm covering all the Alan Moore Saga of the Swamp Thing volumes in trade paperback form. I do have these in issue. I think I've covered some of these issues. I got a good handful of them still. And I said in the first video, I haven't read all these in order in a long time. So over the past, probably about 2 weeks, and I'm on volume 5. I've been rereading them. Usually a volume a night. I also don't read all 6 issues or 7 issues. Some of these are little 7, some of them got an annual, But let's get into it. So we got, this is the first one from Black Label, which is what DC calls Vertigo. Nah, I don't get it. Book 3, Stephen Bissett, John Toddleman, Alan Moore. Let's go to the back here. What's our quotes? I gotta remember really my glasses on. The pain cannot be buried and forgotten. The pain cannot remain in the past or hidden beneath the soil. That which is buried is not gone. That which is planted will grow. All right, so our art team on this one, Steve Bissett, John Toddleman, Stan Walk, and Rick Veitch. 35 through 42. And also features the first appearance of John Constantine, as well as an introduction by artist Stephen Bissett. God, you're this late. 37. I always think it's 27. And here's the thing. I had that first appearance of John Constantine, the Swamp Thing. Well read. I'm sure it was beat the time. It wasn't, wasn't near rent. And one of my many moves and selling off part of the collection. Oh, I'll get that in trades, and I sold it all. It's Constantine. They're never going to do much with this character. And it's going to be a small cult character, and they're going to do nothing big with him. And now, he's well known. Oh, Alfredo Kyle, Ron Randall's on this. So let's move that back up. All right, so we got an introduction by Bissett. Quite a few pages. Look, I love this. I've always liked this. Is this the Nuke Face story? I think it is. Yeah, this is Nuke Face. This is a 2-part one about nuclear waste disposal and this bum that lives off of Nuke Face. Like this town up in Pittsburgh or somewhere up north where the whole town's on fire. It's based on that was a Centronella. What the hell's that? A place in is it Pennsylvania or Ohio that's constantly on fire. They base Silent Hill kind of on. And Swamp Thing ends up fighting this guy, but the nuclear waste kind of fucks him over. And one thing you notice, you don't see, especially if Bissett's where you don't see a lot of pure rectangular panels. They're always going to be a little bit off. And it was a 2-parter. This is Bissett still. Bissett's on all these newspaper headlines, all the newspaper shit he got off his papers. With their Swamp Thing dying and just falling apart. And this is when we get an introduction to the first full appearance, because he did cameo for this, to the anarchist asshole, the con man conjurer, John Constantine, one of my favorite DC characters. And just right at the start, Rick Veitch and John Toddleman there, look at it, boom, there's Constantine right there, and he's talking just beautiful. Look, there's something growing. It means that the Swamp Thing's still alive. And yes, he's supposed to look like Steen Quadrophenia era. That was the whole joke about it. And she's watering Swamp Thing, and Constantine's meeting with all his crew, the nun. Excuse me. Whew. This page, whole page right there. Look at that. That is just amazingly gorgeous art. What is that? Is that one causing a little bit of glare there? Oh, that's a lot better. What about, is this one causing a little bit of glare? Hey, that's a lot better too. And basically what it is Constantine's like, look, you want to know, you got a bunch of questions. I could answer a bunch of stuff, but you got to do some work for me. And that's what we start having. It's crazy. It's Constantine leading Swamp Thing all around the earth, taking care of stuff. This is us, Stan Walk and John Toddleman issue. This is where we started. Moore decided that he wanted to do 2 things. He wanted to fuck with old horror tropes, and he wanted to call back to the old Swamp Thing series, like stuff that he hadn't touched yet. Like this one is about a town. Early on in Swamp Thing, they flooded the town to take care of vampires. Well, guess what? The water's not running, so the vampires can live. So you got these punk rock aquatic vampires. This whole town of them. Which was a neat little twist. And they survived by locking themselves in the town, like the grocery store's meat cooler was airtight because they don't need air. And it's like a two-parter, you know, it's basically Swamp Thing, you know, taking, Stephen Bissentottle been doing this issue, you know, Swamp Thing taking care of, you know, this fuck up from his past. And look at this creature, this Lovecraftian, you know, dweller in the dark shit. Innsmouth. So we get that one, and then at the end he rebuilds himself. And then we get, of course, I love this, dedicated to the memory of Greg Irons. I guess Greg Irons had died around this time. That looks like, that is almost a direct copy of some Greg Irons Underground art. Then this one, I remember this cover. I remember walking into my Walden's and seeing that cover, because September, that would be July 85, so I would have been like 11. Walking in there going, oh, new Swamp Thing. Hell yeah. And it's called, this is what, Cycle of the Curse. And this is all about, it's a werewolf story, but it's all connected to this woman and her menstrual cycle, and her husband's a piece of shit. And talking about how this land they live on, the Indians used to make the women, when they had their menstrual cycle, go up in this hut above ground and all kinds of crazy. They weren't allowed to eat. It's just, basically, I got a good feeling whoever came up with the Ginger Snaps movie read this issue back in the day. It's like, oh, I'll use that. I'm like, look at that great cover. And this is going to be this is the Southern Gothic issue. It's like another haunted house one. So we got there filming a, like, kind of set in the plantation era TV show down near where Swamp Thing is. Abby gets on, and like the ghosts of the people there start possessing the actors, and they start acting like it's back in that time frame. This is definitely, these two issues are definitely two that would not have gotten Comic Code approved. I mean, and they said the coloring was fixed on one of these, because originally it was bad on, let me see, I'll show it to you when it pops up. Like, somebody gets flayed alive, and in the original coloring, they colored the skin wrong so it doesn't look like they are. It's near the end. Here it is. See how he's red there and his skin's the darker tone there? He has his skin flayed off. And then it ends with one of the ghosts working a booth. And that's the end of that volume. That's a little quick one. This was just set up for the next one, because but I've always read Moore's intent when he got on was he was going to write up to issue 50. And there's like two annuals in there. So, like, 20 to 50, so 32 issues. So that's what? Almost 3 years. And he ended up going past 50. This was set up. But this was great stuff. I'm out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. Talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.